Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Awakening Heart Community of Mindful Living here at Dallas Meditation Center. And today is Sunday, November the 1st. And if you came an hour early, I presume that you didn't know that the time changed today. But anyway, it's already just 2 months left this year. But really glad you could join us today. And if you've come here for the first time, maybe you found us on YouTube, either and were watching us live or watching us later. Welcome to you, and just know that our practice is very simple to follow along with. And so just sit back and enjoy, or followed by a talk. So let's begin with 3 sounds of the bell. And welcome any of you to check in the chat window. It'd be nice to know that you're here. And just after we finish with the talk later on, we'll go over to Zoom and we will do some sharing together. And so I'll put that link in the chat window a little bit later. And but if you know the opening affirmation, please say it with me. Noble community, we gather here now to honor the way of peace and nonviolence, the way of wisdom and compassion, the way of joy and beauty. In solidarity with one another, with all humanity, and with all life on earth. Friends on the path, we gather here now to deepen our solidity like a mountain and to renew our freshness like a flower. Through mindful sitting and walking, mindful singing and breathing, and mindful speaking and listening. Family of awakening, we gather here now to celebrate the one infinite light that shines through many religions and many cultures, to cultivate the wisdom of our many teachers, both ancestral and contemporary, and to affirm the capacity within ourselves and all persons of every race, gender, orientation, and tradition to realize full and complete enlightenment. So my name is Cornell, and tonight Bobby will do our teaching and our talk. Jennifer will lead us in a guided meditation, and Nick is our bell master. And I'll read some of the comments over in the window where people are checking in. Nick is greatly bowing in and says, Happy November. Ellen, Happy November back to Nick. And Ellen is grateful for the beautiful day and our time together. Barbara also bowing in and very grateful for Sangha. Catherine is grateful to be here. Alex and Angie say hi and bow in. Lisa from Fort Worth is bowing in, and Julie is bowing in from Addison Treehouse, her Halloween birthday perch. Very nice. So let's sing the Medicine Buddha mantra, and I'm going to pass this around to Bobby by way of Jennifer.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to those of you who are joining us this evening. Before we do the Medicine Buddha chant, I just want to invite you to think about the people, maybe you or somebody you know that's having a difficult time right now. There are a lot of people who are struggling, and so we want to remember them and offer this chant, which may seem simple, but actually has the ability to open our hearts and offer metta, loving kindness, to other people. So I'll let you look at the altar and join us if you like in chanting the Medicine Buddha chant. Om Namo Bhagavate Vaishya Guru Vaidurya Prabharashaya Tathagataya Arhate Samyak Sambuddhaya Tadyata Om Vaishya Vaishya Maha Vaishya Raja Samukate Swaha Om Namo Bhagavate Vaishya Guru Vaidurya Prabharashaya Tathagataya Arhate Samyak Sambuddhaya Tadyata Om Vaishya Maha Vaishya Raja Samukate Swaha Om Namo Bhagavate Vaishya Guru Vaidurya Prabharashaya Tathagataya Arhate Samyak Sambuddhaya Tadyata Om Vaishya Vaishya Maha Vaishya Raja Samukate Swaha. And now as we prepare for our meditation, let's invite the contemplation before sitting. The Sangha is invited to go back to our breathing so that our collective energy of mindfulness brings us together as an organism, going as a river with no more separation. Let the whole Sangha breathe as one body, generate peace as one body, be free as one body. Let us transcend the boundaries of a delusive self, liberating ourselves from the superiority complex, the inferiority complex, and the equality complex.
So I invite you to begin to settle into your meditation posture. And as you are settling, I want to invite you into the practice of setting an intention before your practice so that you can know what you want to concentrate on and what you want to direct your attention toward during your sit. So this can be any number of things. Often at the meditation center, we have a meditation sit that's open awareness. And so we intend to just notice our thoughts, notice our feelings and our emotions, and let them be like clouds that pass by as we go back to concentrating on our breath. And there's other things that you can do that you can set an intention for your practice. So, for instance, you might want to set an intention to practice gratitude. You may want to use this time in settling in and letting your body and your mind remember the things and the people that you're grateful for. You also may want to use it for a time of metta. Metta for yourself, loving kindness for yourself, and just allowing yourself to bask in that. Or you can do loving kindness for yourself and loving kindness for others. And allowing yourself, if you have the energy and you're in the mood to send love out into the world. Sometimes it can be really simple. For instance, I've had a little deep holding on in the deep part of my shoulder today. And all day I have just been saying, it's okay to let go. It's okay to let go, and letting that shoulder just release the tension. And I've had to go back to it and go back to it and go back to it all day. And so maybe during your sit, you may have some part of your body that's holding tension, and you just want to gently massage it and nudge it and say, it's okay, you can let go. There's so many things that we can choose to make our intention. We can maybe even just intend to have a gentle smile on our face during this meditation. What a beautiful practice that is, just to gently encourage yourself to smile behind the face, inside your mouth. So I'll give you a few moments here to settle and go inside and see what is the best use of your time right now. What is your intention for this particular practice? And now maybe you've found your intention. Sometimes also it can just be a mantra. So I might throw out today that um, if you can't figure out what you'd like to do, we'll just have the mantra Abhitaba, infinite light, infinite love, infinite life. And so settling on your intention and using that same intention throughout this practice, it's best not to shift to change in the middle of the practice and say, oh, I'd rather do this. No, just stay to the original intention. So settling in to the intention that you've picked, allowing yourself to feel your sit bones underneath you, your shoulders over your waist, gently letting gravity release them down, letting the crown of your head reach up, while at the same time letting your chin move towards your neck a little bit, just a little. And so that your posture is very regal. It signifies that you are giving honor to the practice and to yourself. Relaxing your brow, letting the lines next to your eyes smooth out, releasing any tension you might have in your jaw. Feeling the breath through its whole experience. So through the inhale, feeling it in your nose, going down your throat, your chest and your stomach, filling up your stomach. And then when you exhale, releasing that all the way back up through the chest, the throat, the nose. Seeing if you can do some concentrated breaths like that, just really breathing deeply into your belly, letting your belly soften. And really feeling the air as it moves out your nostrils in the exhale. So letting yourself relax in this posture. And as you breathe, bring your awareness back to your intention and enjoy your sit. When your mind wanders, just gently put your arm around it and bring it back to your intention. Remembering your intention.
May all beings be happy. May all beings be free. May all beings be joyful. May all beings be at peace. Brahma Vihara Maitri. Brahma Vihara Karuna. Brahma Vihara Mudita. Brahma Vihara Upeksha. May all beings be happy. May all beings be free. May all beings be joyful. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be at peace. Oh, thank you, Jennifer. That was wonderful. I feel like I just need to take a second to be present with you. So again, welcome everyone to the beginning of November. We are here broadcasting online from the Dallas Meditation Center on Sunday, November the 1st, 2020. I say that because I find that I often need frequent reminders of what day it is. The days all seem to be merging together into one another, and I don't see very many distinguishing characteristics. So I need these reminders and have found that I actually need to write myself notes on my calendar to keep me from missing important events and appointments. I'm also experiencing an increased tendency to procrastinate, which I have confessed to you in previous talks. So thinking of all of these things that are merging, my procrastination, led me back to thinking about the Buddha's very first teaching, the Four Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path. So don't worry, I'm not going to cover all of the Noble Truths and Eightfold Path in this one talk, but I do want to focus on just one aspect of the Eightfold Path, and that is right intention. It's also sometimes called right thinking. Now, I know I have talked about this topic before, but I find that when I circle back to any of the teachings and my previous thoughts about it, I'm able to understand more deeply and get a little more clarity. So my intention today is to share these new insights clearly and concisely. So let's begin with the foundation, the Four Noble Truths, which explain why the Noble Eightfold Path is a necessary component of the Buddhist teaching. The first Noble Truth is the truth of suffering. The Sanskrit word for that is dukkha. And the word suffering is also often translated as just a feeling of discontent or dissatisfaction. And that can range anywhere from the irritation of something as small as a paper cut to the experience of physical, emotional, mental trauma. But we all experience dukkha or suffering on a daily basis, hopefully in very short episodes that pass quickly. I'm sure if you think about the day that you've had today, you will recognize that there was some point in the day when you were not satisfied with whatever it was that was going on. So we all suffer at some point in our lives, and usually on a daily basis. The second noble truth is the truth of the causes of suffering. Initially, the causes of suffering were described with just 3 words: attachment, aversion, and indifference. Over time, these words have been expanded a bit so that sometimes attachment is called greed or clinging. And I think if you even look at those words, you can see how that begins to manifest in life. Many of us, and in fact, I've had people ask me questions about how do you not get attached to people you love and to pets. And so the answer is you don't give up attachment to the things you love. But what you do is give up clinging to them. In other words, clinging in such a way that you stifle individual expression. And then greed, of course, is another way of saying that you are kind of taking more than your share, or thinking that there's a lack, and so you have to grab everything you can and hang on to it. So those are the kinds of things that cause suffering. Aversion can be either rejection or a denial of something that's really happening, wanting to push it away, wanting it not to happen. And indifference is often referred to as delusion. Indifference, I have been told, and I think it's true, that it's the most difficult of these poisons, because the 3 things are often called the 3 poisons. And indifference is sometimes the most difficult one to remedy, because it indicates a lack of will. I hear it when I hear someone kind of shrug and say, whatever. It's like giving up. It's like, I don't care, truly don't care. So even attachment and aversion, as challenging as they are to overcome and remedy, they are less challenging than indifference. It's why in one of the meditations that I do and that I have shared it sometimes, there's a phrase that says, may I be open, may I not be attached, and not be indifferent. And of course, Thich Nhat Hanh says it much better than that. So these are the 3 causes of suffering, which, as I said, are also often called the 3 poisons. And I think if we look, we can probably recognize these 3 causes of suffering in some form or another in our own daily lives. What did you cling to today? What did you not want to give up? Did you not want to get out of bed this morning because it was still dark? Did you cling to the cozy softness of your bed and put off the things that you might have had on your schedule to do today? That sort of thing. So now we know everyone suffers, and we know what causes suffering. The third noble truth says there's a remedy. Good news. There is a remedy, a path out of suffering. And sometimes it's called the cessation of suffering. I haven't really reached the point of complete cessation of suffering, but I feel that I have learned how to take care of my suffering, thanks to Thich Nhat Hanh's guidance. So I tend to suffer less. The fourth noble truth is the truth of the Noble Eightfold Path, a specific guide leading to the end, or at least to less suffering. There are 8 aspects of this path, hence Eightfold Path, and on the wheel, which is often described like a wheel, and each of the 8 spokes on the wheel of the Eightfold Path are labeled right, meaning that when we follow them, they will help us stay on the path that increases our ability to suffer less and be happy. They're not meant to be right in the sense of rigid or like a commandment, but they're a guide. They're like on a pathway to happiness. So a way to sum this up is to think of the Buddha as a doctor. So you go to see the doctor when you're ill. That's the first noble truth. You're suffering. The doctor examines you, runs tests, and says, this is the problem. Second noble truth. And then he says, I can prescribe a remedy for your illness. The third noble truth. The doctor gives you a prescription, and if you follow the doctor's advice, you will begin to feel better. The fourth noble truth. So with that little background, let's take a look at a part of the Noble Eightfold Path called right thinking, or sometimes called right intention. I like to use right intention because it seems to me that intention actually informs the second place on the path. The first, and I think we can see how having a perspective that's in alignment with the Buddha's teachings or with our own aspirations, we can see how that view will influence the way we think, thus the way we create or have intention. We will become more intentional about following that we are taught. So right thinking, right intention is in between right view and right speech. And after right speech is right action. It's easy to see how intention is related to speech and action. It makes a lot of sense to me because I can see how speech and actions arise as a result of our intentions and our thoughts. What we do and what we say are an outcome, a manifestation of what we're thinking and what we're intending. There is an intention or a thought behind everything we do and everything we say. Just think about that. Behind everything we say or do, there is an intention, a thought. This is why Thich Nhat Hanh and all the Buddhist teachers I've read stress the importance of being present. It's only when we are present that we can recognize when we have said or done something that takes us off the path we've chosen. Then we have an opportunity to reflect and see what thought was expressed by that word or action. In my experience, I usually see that the thought was generated by some habitual pattern that is connected to habit energy and has no relation to a conscious intent. I'm operating on a default system, not present, not mindful. The resulting word or action often causes misunderstanding at the very least, or real pain to myself or others. Here's a simple example, and maybe some of you have had a similar experience regarding habitual or habit energy. So I have a path out of my neighborhood. I back out of my driveway and then I head north. I turn so that I'm heading north. I go straight to the first stop sign. I go straight through it. And I veer to the right. I stop at another stop sign. And then at the next stop sign, I take a left. That's just, that's the way I do it. So there were times in the past when I would find myself following that path and I would get to that last left turn before I realized where I was and remembered where I wanted to go. Thanks to our mindfulness training and learning a little how to be a little more mindful, I usually catch myself at the driveway now. And I just have to pull back into the driveway, back up in a different way, and then I can go in the way that's most correct and straight to the place where I want to go. So a big part of that change in my habit energy is mindfulness training and thinking about my intention before I get in the car. Another thing I do is check in with myself. This is another kind of, I don't know, it's a kind of a little intention, but it also could be called a habit. Before I leave the house, I stop at the door and I think, am I forgetting anything? And often there's a sort of a feeling about it, a feeling, yes, I think I am forgetting something, or I think I've got it all. But either way, it's really helpful because then I don't have to give that any more thought. And it's a mindfulness practice. Have you ever driven home and then realized you don't even remember how you got there? Now, I mean, if you're sober, somewhere within your consciousness, there is an intention for safety. I think that's part of the default system, and that's a good thing. But an unconscious intention for personal safety can also sometimes express as unnecessary fear or anxiety. It's much better to have a healthy conscious intention for safety, and that will help to mitigate the default unconscious version. Thich Nhat Hanh offers us 4 practices related to right thinking, right intention. The first is this question, are you sure? And he tells us to ask this question to begin correcting inaccurate perceptions that can cause incorrect thinking. For me, it's also a reminder that I can't believe everything I think. Thinking sometimes is actually in alignment with an inaccurate view, a wrong perception. And so, am I sure is a good way to locate that, to notice it. The second question he talks about he says, what am I doing? Thich says, asking this question will help you overcome the habit of wanting to complete things quickly. In other words, it helps to bring us back to the present moment. Not trying to push away the present moment, not being averse to whatever is happening in that present moment. The third practice he recommends is to say, hello, habit energy. Acknowledge that habit energy and make friends with it. When we can accept those ingrained thoughts and not feel guilty about them, not criticize and judge ourselves, they will begin to lose their punch. They'll lose their power. So, hello, habit energy. The fourth one is bodhicitta. I'm going to read this quote from Thich Nhat Hanh because I can't say it as well as he does. Our mind of love is the deep wish to cultivate understanding in ourselves in order to bring happiness to many beings. With bodhicitta as the foundation of our thinking and our intentions, everything we do or say will help others be liberated. There is another passage that I want to read to you, and this is from Thich Nhat Hanh's book called The Heart of the Buddha's Teaching, and it's in the section that's labeled Right Thinking, which I've been calling Right Intention. So he says, right thinking is thinking that is in accord with right view. It is a map. I've lost my place. It is a map that can help us find our way. But when we arrive at our destination, we need to put down the map and enter the reality fully. Think non-thinking is a well-known statement in Zen. When you practice right view and right thinking, you dwell deeply in the present moment, where you can touch the seeds of joy, peace, and liberation, heal and transform your suffering, and be truly present for many others. I have found that short, clear intentions have been very helpful to me for many years, even before I began my Buddhist path. One intention I like and have used a lot is a very short sentence. I intend inner harmony. I intend inner harmony. In my experience, this intention serves to align my thinking, my speech, and my actions with my bodhicitta ideal. As an amateur musician and a lover of all the creative arts, I find the idea of inner harmony to be a wonderful aspiration. I know what it feels like to be in harmony with other people, with other musicians, with other creative arts. So I really relate to that feeling of harmony. If you like, I would encourage you to try this during the next 3 days or a whole week. There's no need to make this phrase a mantra that you repeat continuously. Just think, I intend inner harmony, as often as you remember to do it. Very much like Jennifer kept reminding us in our meditation to return to our intention. When you practice this, notice if you experience any changes in your habit energy, in your way of relating to yourself and other people. Notice any effect on your words or your actions. Maybe it will help you let go of anxiety about the pandemic, the election, and whatever else is troubling you. I intend inner harmony. I hope you'll try it and let me know next week or during the week what's been your experience. I'd love to hear about it. So thank you, dear friends, for listening. I hope you'll join me for sharing on Zoom and to follow up with any questions you might have about something I said or something I neglected to say. I really, really want to hear from you. So we will end this part of our meeting together. And I encourage you to look in the chat box and find the link to the Zoom meeting. And then when we have concluded here, we will go to the Zoom meeting. I think we want to say some announcements while we're still here on YouTube. And so the first announcement that I think of is encourage you to join us during the week. Next Saturday, November the 7th, there will be a special event, a deep relaxation touching the earth event. And I think it is in the afternoon.
No, it's 10:30.
It's 10:30 in the morning. That is not the afternoon.
Unless you're on daylight savings.
Let's procrastinating a little.
Unless you're procrastinating a little, they say. So you can find the registration link. You register, then they will send you the Zoom link. So I hope you will register, because I think in this time of this pandemic and everything we're struggling with, we all need to relax, and we all need to touch the earth, to get back in touch with our spiritual blood and ancient ancestors, so that we are really grounded. So that's a big event that's coming up. We have some guest speakers for the rest of the month, and so I know that you will enjoy that. So I'm going to look at Cornell and ask him if there's any other announcements.
Please fill out the survey.
Yeah. Cornell says to remind you, please, to fill out the survey. We use the answers, the responses on that survey in a lot of different ways. And one of the most important ones is that we use it when we're applying for grants. They always want to know how many people come, what are the ages, all kinds of information like that. And the survey will tell us that. It takes only a short, maybe 5 minutes to complete it, and it still gives us a lot of good information. So please take the survey. All right, so I think we're ready to close this side and move over to Zoom. And maybe we'll just hear a couple of bells to take us out. Thank you, friends. We'll meet you over on the Zoom platform in a very short time. See you there.
End stream.
I did.
And then dismiss it or whatever it is.
I did it in 2.
She did it.